All right, let's get right into it. There is a huge story unfolding in the South Bay right now. Seriously, it's a story about big money, massive corporate moves, and, a battle for attention that is getting louder by the day. We're going to break down exactly what's going on and maybe more importantly, what it means for every single local business in the area. So let's just start with a number that kind of makes you stop and listen. $42.2 billion. And this isn't some abstract number from Wall Street, no. This is the value of assets being managed by one single financial firm right here in our backyard. And then there's this one, $51.5 million. That was the price tag for one industrial property. Not a whole portfolio, just one building. You've got two massive numbers dropping in the same local market in just a matter of weeks. So here's the thing you have to understand. These are not just random headlines. You've got two gigantic deals, both happening in one city, and together, well, they're sending a pretty powerful signal about where the entire South Bay economy is headed. It's a story about scale. Okay, so let's zoom in. Both of these huge deals, they're centered right in Torrance. And we're going to look at the reporting. This is straight from the Los Angeles Business Journal to really get a handle on the corporate giants making all this noise right in your backyard. What's just, well, kind of mind-blowing here is the speed of their growth. EP Wealth Advisors, a Torrance-based firm, more than doubled its assets to over $42 billion in just 2 years. And their latest acquisition, it's all part of this aggressive national strategy. It just goes to show that local players are now competing on a global stage. And this quote, it just perfectly illustrates the corporate message, right? It's polished, it's powerful, and it absolutely projects strength. This is the official story they're broadcasting, a story of expansion, more resources, more experts. This is the voice of big money, and man, it is loud. Now let's jump over to that second deal, and you'll see how this picture starts to come together. EQT Exeter just dropped over $51 million on an industrial property in Torrance. And you gotta ask, why? Well, it's all about location. It's a critical logistics hub right near the ports of LA and Long Beach, and it's already occupied by a Fortune 50 company. This is not a guess. It's a strategic chess move to control a vital piece of the supply chain. So you've got all this corporate money and all this media attention just flooding the South Bay. And it brings up a really important question for every other business owner, every consultant, every entrepreneur in the area. I mean, who actually gets heard when the market gets this loud? And that's really the challenge, isn't it? When billion-dollar deals are the talk of the town, how does a local CPA or a tech founder or a shop on a main street even begin to compete for attention? How do you tell your story? And this quote just, wow, it just captures it perfectly. A heavy, dusty silence. That's exactly what happens to the smaller stories, which are just as important, by the way. They just get lost. They get buried in some PDF on a city website, totally overshadowed by these huge corporate announcements. So what's the answer? What's the counter move? Well, interestingly enough, a really cool solution is taking shape just down the road from Torrance in San Pedro. And it's not about trying to outspend the giants. No way. It's about changing the strategy completely, from spending to speaking, from capital to authority. Right here inside a beautiful, restored 1922 building, a company called Voxel Microvideo Labs is building what they call a media engine. It's basically a system designed from the ground up to help local businesses tell their story with the same quality and impact as the big guys. And the core of their whole strategy is this new idea they're calling generative engine optimization, or GEO for short. The idea is actually pretty simple, but it's incredibly powerful. You create authentic, conversational video content so that when someone asks Siri or Gemini, hey, who's the best local expert for X, the AI recommends you. It's about becoming the go-to answer. And their whole approach is built on these really compelling ideas. They talk about turning your expertise into a client magnet or claiming your digital real estate in a market that's getting super crowded. The whole point, in their words, is to turn that heavy, dusty silence we were just talking about into a cinematic roar that no one can ignore. So what does something like this actually look like in practice? The whole idea isn't about, making one video that hopefully goes viral. It's about creating a repeatable system so you can consistently own the conversation in your specific field. And the process itself, it's designed to be simple and super efficient. You walk into a professional studio, you just have a conversation about what you already know best. Then, from that one session, you get a full month's worth of marketing content.
The final step, you use it all to just systematically take over the local conversation.
The key here, the real game changer, is this idea of a content engine. One single recording session doesn't just make one long video. Oh no, it gets leveraged and sliced and diced into dozens of assets. Short clips for social media, reels for Instagram, posts for LinkedIn. It literally fuels your marketing for an entire month, building this unstoppable momentum.
So as we start to wrap this up, this whole story, it really comes back to one simple but I think pretty profound question. The market is shifting, the noise is getting louder, and it's time for every local business to decide how they're going to respond.
Look, the South Bay is changing, and it's changing fast. The corporate giants, they're spending millions of dollars to tell their story, but they can't tell your story. They don't have your unique expertise, your experience, or your connection to this community. So the real question is, what's the story that only you can tell?